Assalamu alaikum Ali.
Assalamu alaikum, Haj.
My apologies, Khaye.
You're good, you're good. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me just ready to go, bro.
Go ahead.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and again, welcome again to just a nightly program that what's going on with us here in terms of putting this stuff together for you guys. It's really a privilege. I just want to say that first of all, and I'm so grateful that I have these opportunities. I know I promised you guys before I start. I know I promised you guys in terms of to do the khushu' in salah. I wanted to do that, but something came up today and I have it ready. I have there's 7 conditions. Hudur al-qalb, in terms of just having the presence of heart, at-ta'zeem, just having an understanding of what the greatness of Allah is, al-hay'a, or hayba, afwan. These things, inshallah, we're going to talk about tomorrow. And what you should be thinking in your salah and how you should be doing that. There's 7 levels of khushu', and we're going to how to ascend. But today something happened and I had to put this together, and I put it together for you guys. And this is something that I think many people struggle with. And I have clients, guys, from all around the world. And I see this in so many people coming up. So I wanted to do this as part 1 of kind of the teaching your children how to make good decisions. And I wanted to give you some anecdotes today in terms of understanding what decisionophobia is. And this is actually a real thing in terms of psychological terms. And so I wanted to kind of make this as part 1, and part 2 is going to be tomorrow in terms of that. So I can give you guys a little bit and how to really take things to another level. From here, I'm going to explain to you what are the causes of it, what are the symptoms of it, and then I'm going to tell you, give you 6. I'm going to explain the fight or flight system and how it triggers in terms of fear. Then from there, what we're going to go into is setting up pretty much what's the 6. I'm going to give you 6 kind of quick tips how to get out of decisionophobia. So decisionophobia, I'm going to explain to you what it is, and then we'll go from there. But that's pretty much the whole gesture. Then we're going to go to Imam Ali alayhi salam at the end, and what he says in terms of what is positive fear, what should you be afraid of. And he has a beautiful hadith in Nahj al-Balagha, and I want to take you through that in terms of that presentation. But today, again, take some really good notes. I've got people who are just getting back with me, and they are taking notes. They're putting this stuff together. It's super exciting for me when I hear that, and somebody sends me a picture of their notes, or I hear a mother telling me, yeah, her kids are taking notes, or someone just sends me just a message and saying, your lectures are really affecting me as a person. I'm just grateful for that. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the feedback. I'm just grateful to be just doing this stuff for you guys every single night, and I'm honored. It's my honor, and it's my privilege. So let's go with this. First thing, first of all, let's just start it with what we need to start with is أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Now, guys, I thought this would be a perfect book, and this is way back then. I read this book way back then, and it's called Welcome to Your Child's Brain. And it's a psychological parenting book, but it's really, really something incredible in terms of understanding how kids' minds work. And this, I thought it'd be perfect for the subject tonight. And these things are so worth buying if you're a parent, or even heck, if you're somebody who's a teenager just growing up and understanding how you work. This would be a great book. So what I advise you guys to do is really look into some neuroscience, some neurobiology. It's called um, uh, the biopsychology. It's got the names physiological psychology. It's got these names in terms of different ways, and neuropsychology or behavioral neuroscience. All these things, I would really tell you, I advise you, if you really want to understand the way you work and how the mind is working now. There's some amazing research that's been going on, but I have to warn you there. Just be careful in terms of the information, because it does like equate the scientific measure and the scientific studies as is the mind is equal to the brain, as we talked about that yesterday. So I do advise you to do that. All right, guys, that's the book. That's the intro. Let's go from here. All right. So decisionophobia, what is it? Let's go into here and to see what this really is and why this works and how it works. I know I've been getting some comments about the cat too, so there's nothing I can do about that, guys, but she just wanders all around. So, all right, decisionophobia. What is it? Okay. What does it lead to? I'm going to show you a few things in terms of how it works, but decisionophobia is really being afraid to make decisions. And what happens is, I want you to go back, and you haven't watched the Science of Self-Confidence presentation, please go back. Because when you're about to make a decision, you have to rely on your own ability, meaning your own thinking. And what happens there is, when we fail so many times, when we try our decision making onto the world, and we fail multiple times, over and over and over and over, we start having fear of making decisions. That's how it works. But imagine you're getting success every time you make a decision. Then you build confidence. So low self-esteem is connected to this. And self-confidence is also connected to this. And self-efficacy is also connected to this. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a general realm. I know we did kind of in terms of the spiritual aspect today. Today I shifted a little bit. Forgive me, I know I promised, but I wanted to do this today so I can get till tomorrow, and possibly I could do khushu after that. Okay. So these topics are so cool. They're just amazing. Once you guys, I promise you, when I'm doing any kind of, I'll give you some examples. When I'm doing any kind of coaching and you see the other person struggling with their decisions, but you're confident and you know exactly what to do, and you just need them to walk down that line on their own. You don't want to tell them what to do. And they start seeing the road. It's incredible when that happens. You as a mentor, and the mentee starts taking on that road and they see it. You're already comfortable. You don't feel the emotional storm that they have inside, because the fear has just robbed them of any kind of peace. And then they're just walking on this line, and it's so scary for them. You know they're going to be okay because you're right there, okay? And they have a sense of confidence that you're also there. But this is the experience I go through time after time after time. When someone enters their discomfort zone, and that fear is crept in now, and they're like, oh my God, I have to make this decision. Then what I do is I tell them I'm behind them, but they start walking away, and I stop. Then they're in the middle of the forest thinking I'm behind them, but they make great decisions to get there. Then eventually what happens? They turn around and they look at me, and I'm not there, and they freak out. But it's amazing what happens when I do that. I don't do it to trick the person. I do it to show them that to be confident in who you are, believe in your ability, walk into the corridor of uncertainty, walk into the corridor of darkness, but you already have the light. Just shine it and you're going to be fine. Most people are terrified of these things, especially those kinds of decisions. Then some people, okay, they're usually high on empathy, and they just walk into the darkness blindly without any thinking at all. That's the extreme on the other end. You don't want to do that either. That person, you got to hold them and pull them back. Like, where are you going? Come back here. You're going way too far. You're way too rash. Stop. So it's a combination of the both. When you are strong in decision making and you're confident, you have great knowledge, great wisdom, and you have strong emotional sets that are connected to that. That's insight. Your heart then can see, and you just guided. You don't need the light even. You just know where to go. Your heart knows how to maneuver, and it just guides you. It's incredible. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Al-mu'min qalbuhu daliluh." Qalbuhu daliluh. See, his heart is his navigation, because it's got, as long as it's got the right intention in it, it's incredible what happens. What decisionophobia are you going to have? I love to make decisions. I love to live life. I want to move. This is incredible when you start taking on challenges and you're just wondering what the next challenge is. Wow, this is incredible. All right, I'm about to get, let's say I want to get married to someone, and you know, certain people are telling me no, but I'm so confident. I know this person is a great person, but ultimately, hey, it's just all these things, they work on you, but then you have to have the strength to push forward, stand strong, and not care. It's in terms of these kinds of not care, make sure that the person is a good person. That's not what I'm saying, but make sure that that person is, but your thought process, it's there, your heart's there, and you know, and you have conviction, and move. That's incredible. Now, what happens here in terms of decisionophobia? Decisionophobia can lead to this. Watch this. I'm going to give you 3 things. Okay, can lead to confusion and high levels and a high level of dependency on others. Meaning, I need verification constantly. A lot of the parents, like, listen up. If you're a parent, please. What we do is we make our kids so dependent on our decision making that we don't allow them to make decision making. We don't allow them to make any decisions, and they actually go forward. And then we protected them so much that when they have to face the outside world, guess what? They don't know how to do anything. So don't protect your children. Teach your children how to do what? Make decisions. When the snakes are coming, okay, don't protect them from the snakes. Teach them how to cut up the snakes. That's how you do that in terms of these kinds of things. So you don't want to create codependency. Codependency is when a child is completely what? Dependent on you. And guess what? When you're a codependent adult, you will attract, guess what? Narcissistic people into your life. That, like, if you want to read up about that, read up about it. Codependents and narcissists and how they attract. It's incredible. Now, I'm not giving you too much here. I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of just what codependency means. Codependency is a dangerous thing. You don't want to be a 30-year-old adult and you're still codependent and you don't even know it. Okay, you got to teach decisions you got to teach your children how to make decisions, and they don't get confused, and they're literally, I have some patients who are like literally 30, 40, 50 years old, and they suffer from stuff like this. So be careful. That's number 1. So it can create high levels of what? Dependency. Number 2, persons with arachnophobia often lack control over their decision or the direction of their life. Huge in terms of understanding. Inna ila rabbika al-muntaha. Even we get confused about stuff like that. Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? That's how far this can go. Okay, you got to be very careful with this thing. And once you have the confidence and you build yourself in this way, man, it's all about understanding that outcome, as we said earlier in that presentation about building character, dropping the outcome. When you drop the outcome, you have faith in Allah. Taslim. And we talked about that yesterday. Comes from what? In here. Now your navigation is set in terms of the heart. What happens in terms of direction? Allah Azza wa Jal is the ultimate meaning. That's incredible when you start understanding that. That's an antidote to this problem here as well. Okay, problems such as low self-esteem can decrease the level of a person's confidence. So what happens when you have low self-esteem? You'll have low confidence necessary to face different choices and make the right decisions. Guys, we talked about this a million times. It's incredible what happens when you lack self-esteem. We said self-efficacy. Go back to the presentation on self-confidence. That's why I did these things in the beginning, so we build on them coming down the line. Okay, self-esteem, self-efficacy leads to, self-efficacy is a belief in your own ability. Self-confidence is, can I get to my destination and my goals? And those combination of those two create your self-esteem, how much you love yourself, self-worth, how much you value yourself as a person. That's how it works. Okay, so this, in terms of that fear, what happens? That can decrease the confidence, then you will lack in decision-making ability. That's how it works. Now, let's move to the symptoms now in terms of this. Number one, okay, I'm going to go through these really quickly. They're not that sure you've heard these probably a million times. Okay, anxiety when thinking of making a decision. I know people and I tell them, like, listen, go on the internet to search something in terms of this. Now we're going to move towards the deck. They get anxiety of making that decision that I don't want to move on this. And they start doubting themselves and who they are and how they're thinking. I'm like, man, you just made it. You're just searching. You're just researching of what's going on. So anxiety happens when you're about to make a decision. That's number one. Number two, constantly avoiding making the decision. I avoid it. I don't want to make it. I don't want to jump into it. So I just run away from it. This is one of the symptoms of this kinds of things. Okay, unable to cope with their anxiety. So when a person doesn't have mechanisms of coping, they don't know how to shut their anxiety down. So I know a person today, and they were like, when I was talking to you, you know, I felt better, and I'm just going through pretty much just like a coaching session. But from here, what happens is once the person calms down, the anxiety goes away, and it's incredible how that happens. But that person learns how to cope with that. When the energy rises, they can shut it down. When the fire's coming up, they know how to put water on it. That's how it works. All right, number three, muscle tension. Okay, shaking and even like they sweat. And I'm going to show you what turns on this, all these right here, all of these in terms of what's going on. And I'm telling you, like, all of these stem from what? The challenges. We talked about challenges and skill set. Go back into that presentation in terms of getting into flow. And what happens when you have high challenge and high skill set and they meet, that's where flow happens. Flow is 79% of top performers can get into flow willingly. They can do that. We talked about that presentation. So from there, flow is optimal performance, where you're just performing at your top. So all of these come from challenges. When we're challenged and we get these symptoms and we can't make the decisions because we freeze. We don't know how to deal with our anxiety. We don't know how to move towards the right emotion quickly. We don't right decision quickly. So that's how it works. Number five is, some people just go to this far. They panic, like panic attacks. It can go this far, guys, in terms of these kinds of things. So those are some of the symptoms. All right. Now, what does the Quran say about how we're going to be tried? Okay. So challenges are there. Okay. They're going to come in contact with you. If you start feeling these symptoms, Allah has already told you, I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to give you the skill set. Meaning what? هو الذي يصوركم في الأرحام كيف يشاء. He fashions you in the womb of your mother. When he fashions you, you spend 9 months in the womb of your mother becoming unique. Nothing like you. There's no other person who shares the same identity as you. Meaning your physiological makeup, your biological makeup. No other person that has existed, is existing, or will exist. You're your own universe. On that level, Allah's told you, I'm going to try you. And that level, I fashioned you into this. And then he says, when I fashioned you, I literally, what I'm doing is I'm putting your tools that you need to take on life inside of you already. Why? Because he knows your capacity and he knows what you can handle, what you can't handle. Allah says in the Quran, إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يَظْلُمُ النَّاسَ شَيْئًا وَلَكِنَّ النَّاسَ أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلُمُونَ. So Allah does not burden you. لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهَ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. He does not burden you beyond your capacity. That means he has to give you a tool for every challenge that he knows you can overcome. He knows your capacity. He knows what you can handle. And he's giving you a tool already. Otherwise, he wouldn't be fair. And the second thing in our major pillars of our religion is al-adl al-ilahi, First is Tawheed, then Al-Adl al-Ilahi, is the divine justice. So you have to believe in his divine justice in terms of he's absolutely just. So he wouldn't be just if he didn't give you every tool at birth or fashioned it into you to take on what? The challenge already, because he knows your capacity and your limit. So he knows the limits of your challenges and he's giving you tools to overcome them. That's how it works. So Allah then challenges us. What does Allah say? He says, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْمَالِ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ like it's incredible how Allah Azza wa Jalla is fashioning, and he's telling us we will what? We will, in terms of 255, we will test you with what? How will you be tested? Like even in the best part, it says وَالثَّمَرَاتُ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ, and he says even and then he said give good news to what? The ones who are patient. One of the antidotes in terms of all this stuff is what? It's patience and us being able to hold back. But Allah says, and you will surely be tested with something of what? Fear, of loss. You're going to lose, okay, something. Number 2, hunger. You're going to get hungry. Some people have these trials. Look at how many different challenges. Fear, hunger, loss of wealth, okay? Lives. You're going to lose people you love, you care for, okay? You're going to lose them. You're attached to these things, okay? And you're going to be able to that's a sense of loss. Allah's telling you this. I'm going to try you. Don't be afraid. You have the ability to do it. وَإِذَا, as we said yesterday, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَا. He says, I'm here. I'm next to you. Okay? Call on me. When you call on me, I'll answer you. It's right there. So Allah Azza wa Jal gives us these trials to keep us close to him, to keep you in need. You're never completed perfectly. Why? Because you always need to strive further. But Allah does this to keep you close to him, to bow down to him, to go back and feel like there's no one else that can help you but him. He's always bringing you closer to him. That's why these things are there. It's to bring you closer to Allah. Now, let's move forward. Fruits. And now give good tidings to the patient. Okay, remember that one. So patience has 3 levels, and I'm not going to go into that, but الثقة بالله, تبديل اللذة والشكر. Those maybe I don't know if I'm able to be able to do anything there in terms of that aspect, but in terms of future presentations, maybe I will, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit that one. But understand, these are the symptoms. And then Allah has promised us that, you know what, you're going to feel these things. But when we lose belief in Allah, that he's what? Capable of removing these things in front of us. And what do you think is going to happen? We're going to be what? In fear all the time. And a person who doesn't really believe in Allah, they don't believe in what? Patience. Because why should I be patient? I just want what I want it now. I want it and I want it now. Why should I be patient? Whatever I want, I could take. Why should I even care? Because a person like that gets very frustrated. Now, let's move forward. All right. The fight or flight system. Guys, this is a physiological response of threatening situations, which gets a person ready to either forcibly resist or run away. So what that means is I'm going to fight. Challenge comes. Okay. I'm going to fight or I'm going to flight. That's the way it works. So in terms of, I have a video on YouTube in terms of public speaking, and I was asked this question, you know, how does that, when you're fearful, how does that work? And I'm going to give you a little bit about how the system works, because a lot of us, what we do is we walk around and all our environment is threatening. All the people who we're connected to is threatening. Our job is threatening. Our kids are threatening. Our mom and dad are threatening. We develop so many threatening situations around us that this system is constantly on. So we're always in a state of what? Anxiety. And we become paranoid even. and we can go into those levels. But now watch what happens. The fight or flight system, let's say you're about to give a speech. I'll give you an example. And this is what the video actually goes through. And the fight or flight system turns on when the challenge approaches, when there's a fearful situation in the outside world. It happens subconsciously. And this is one theory of Joseph Ledoux. And this is what he says about what happens in the brain. In one theory, he says that the first thing is subconsciously. This is the low road, it's called. Subconsciously, it hits your amygdala. Your amygdala is the fear center of the brain. And now that process hits the hypothalamus. And the hypothalamus is your thermostat of your whole body, and it regulates your whole system. And now what do you think happens after that? What happens after that is now it turns on what? Everything. It dumps hormones into your bloodstream. Epinephrine or norepinephrine is released. Adrenaline is released into your system. Your sugar level is spiked in terms of how it turns on, and it's dumped into your bloodstream. Like literally everything in your body is just on high alert. High heart rate goes up. Your palms start sweating. Everything turns on, as we said earlier. All those things they happen right when you're about to go on stage, because now there's a fearful situation. What is the fearful situation? My competence is going to get judged, meaning the way I present, how smart I am is going to be judged. Can I present in front of people? Can I be a leader? Can I talk? Can I do this stuff? So my competence is going to be judged. That's threatening to me. That's fearful. And some people actually rate public speaking at a higher rate than the fear of death. So they actually fear public speaking more than death. That's incredible in terms of how much it turns on the system. That's why I'm using this example. So when that system turns on, what should you do? I'm going to give you some equations to follow. So what happens on the low road? That's subconscious, automatically turns on. That's not underneath your control. You don't have control over that. When any threatening situation happens, your parasympathetic system and your sympathetic system, they turn on, okay? One or the other. One keeps you calm, one just energizes you. Which one is gonna what? Win. So now, here's what happens. That low road has to get validation from the neocortex, your conscious level. So this is subconscious and implicit. This is conscious and explicit. So it has to get what? Validation. And it has to ask, it has to go upstairs, has to knock on the door, say, hey, there's a signal, we have a signal here. We're trying to make sure that this is a threat. You open the door and it's like, they ask you that. And you're like, you know what? No, just a false alarm. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I got this. You just go back to sleep. Subconscious, go back to sleep. There's no threat. Subconscious mind goes to you, are you sure? You sure about that? Let me know. I'll dump all the hormones you need. I'll get you ready to fight or just run. Either one, just let me know. I'm ready. You're like, no, it's okay. I'm good. Those are your thoughts that go through your head. It's literally the switches to shut down the system is your thought process. So if you tell the subconscious mind, I'm okay, I'm fine, everything's good, there's no threat. Tawakkal Allah, wa tawakkal ala Allah, wa kafa billahi wakila. Okay? I drop the outcome and I don't have any fear, I'm okay. Anxiety starts what? Shutting down. The system actually shuts down when the cognitive part of you tells it, there's no threat. I'm scanning the area. I'm okay. You go up there and you just start speaking. And everything is amazing. You don't trip up on your own words. You don't try to control what's automatic in you already. And you're just flowing. There's two parts of you that get tripped up. There's two parts that are actually happening. There's your automatic system. Then what? There's your conscious system. Automatic system is how you flow and you don't care. I don't care about being judged. I'm fine. I'm going to slow down my voice here. And I'm going to make you feel like this is important, because that's what the brain actually registers. That when I speak slow and I bring down my voice, your brain registers that this is important information. Can you do that in a speaking genre? Can you do that in a way where you're just so powerful and there's no fear, but you're actually playing with thoughts and you're painting the picture with it? And it's incredible when you can do that. But the system is fully underneath your control. It doesn't control you, you're controlling it. And now you flow and your automatic system is just going and thoughts are just coming to you. And now al-ilham al-ilahi, it's like you're just getting these ideas and you're just in flow. And you enter that realm. And subhanAllah, your heart starts to speak. It's no longer your tongue. You're not trying to control your automatic system. That's what people do, by the way. They get so scared that they're trying to control their words, and then they trip up this automatic system. Should I say this? Should I say? They start infusing thoughts where they shouldn't be. It's like adding noise in between piano keys while you're playing a song. You can't add the noise in between. You got to have that delay, as I just did. And now it flows. Everything flows. So the fight or flight system is a huge part of this in terms of the fear of decision making. You got to be very careful when this happens and how it goes to you, okay? Now, let's take a look at Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam Ali, in Nahj al-Balagha 175. And if you want a copy of Nahj al-Balagha, it's on alislam.org. You can just search Nahj al-Balagha and it will come up in terms of, it has the sermons, the sayings. This is in the short sayings at the end, 175, and the letters of Imam Ali. Get that book. It's an incredible book, and it's literally known as the sister of the Quran. That's something you got to have in your library. But it's online, the whole book. You can go on alislam.org is a huge library. And there's another website. It's called lbx.org, and you can sign up for that. They actually have Harvard classes on that website, huge website in terms of that aspect. I'm going to check the URL. I can't remember 100%, but I'm going to check it for you. Join me tomorrow just to make sure that I have that. So Imam Ali alayhi salam, in terms of the fear system, and he's telling you, okay, when your subconscious mind walks upstairs, knocks on the door, hey, is this a fearful, threatening situation? Imam Ali alayhi salam says, when you are afraid of something, dive straight into it, because the intensity of abstaining from it is greater, worse than what you are afraid of. Okay? Learn how to step forward with rationale now, with wisdom, not just being rash and crazy. Be wise in your decision making, but shut down the fear by shutting down the system. All right? Now, 6 tips. I'm going to go through this real quick. If you have those systems, if you are afraid of making decisions and you don't trust your own ability and you need someone to constantly validate who you are and what you are doing and how to move forward, and you can't make a decision for yourself because you don't trust who you are, listen up to these things and we'll move from there. Then I'm going to take you to the last one, which is positive fear and who we should fear. And Imam Ali alayhi salam gives us a beautiful hadith for that. And here we go. I'm going to go through these real quick and then we'll go from there. All right. Number 1, make a lot of decisions daily. Guys, this is what I tell a lot of my clients. Listen, you got to learn how to make decisions. And if you want to master the skill for decision making, you will need, as the first thing is to make a lot of decisions. Okay, that's the first thing you need to do. And when you start making decisions, I'm going to show you what the next step is. Which type of decision should you make? But make a lot of them. When you're making decisions, and listen, I'm gonna eat this banana or I don't eat this banana. I'm thinking of my health. Okay, but check the fear. At that moment, check it. See, take a diagnosis. What am I afraid of? Is there something that's giving me anxiety? And whenever you feel that fear, oh my God, I shouldn't do this, check what the fear is. Check it. It's incredible how this works. Okay. So number one, make a lot of decisions daily. Make a lot of them. Okay. Number two, okay, start with what, if you're going to make a lot of decisions, I don't want you to go over there and make a decision about selling your company, or make a decision about starting a business, or make a decision about getting married, or these kinds of things. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm saying to you is make very small decisions, okay? Decisions that don't have a lot of responsibility, okay? If you want to make good decisions, you will need to start making decisions. That's what you need to do. Now, but the best way to overcome fear of making the wrong decision is to what? Make small decisions. Small decisions is key. It's key. Why? All right, I have a fearful situation that challenge has come to me. It's not that big. I think I can overtake it with my skill set, and I hit it and I win. What do you think happens after that? That starts building your self-esteem. Now your mind is saying, wait a minute, my code right now is saying he loses all the time or she loses all the time. Wait a minute, they just won. Okay, then you pay attention to this. And now you win again and again, and you get the small decisions in terms of winning. Now you build momentum. That's the way it works. Once you build momentum in decision making, and you start growing and growing, and you start taking on bigger and more massive decisions in terms of the way you grow, you stop fearing purchasing this or purchasing that, which is a very small purchase. You could purchase companies that are millions and millions and millions of dollars, and you won't have any fear. So you got to start with the small little things, okay? And in the Quran, I wanted to allude to this. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la tattabi'u khutuwat ash-shaytan innahu lakum aduwwun mubin. Okay, oh, you who believe, don't follow the steps of shaitan. Shaitan takes your heart little by little. Win your heart little by little. That's how you should do it. Okay, take yourself and build your confidence one decision at a time, and build slowly. Start with the small ones, get to the bigger ones. All right, number three, take action after you make a decision to do something. Guys, this is, so now you're making small decisions, all right? So you're making a lot of decisions, and you're making small decisions, but when you make the decision, you stop. No, don't stop. You wanna move forward so you can learn. You need to learn. Even when you make a wrong decision, you need to learn from that experience. You need it, okay? So, but make faulty decisions where? In small little things that don't have a lot of consequences. Because guys, some decisions are one-way tickets, all right? Just like you fly in an airplane, you can't bring that back, okay? If you have an illegitimate child, you can't take that back. That's it, it's a one-way decision. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, pleasure goes away and the consequences will stay. On that level, you don't want to make one-way decision tickets, one-way ticket decisions. All right, you don't want to do that. You want to make decisions, then check. You want to make the small ones, then you want to make a lot of them. You want to make small decisions, then what? Once you make the decision, follow through, push. Don't wait on what you're trying to do. Make that decision. Number four, be informed if you want to increase your confidence when you make a decision. Okay, be informed, meaning what? Before you do anything, make sure you don't just use your intuition. You want informed intuition, meaning there's formulas in your thinking that I know if I do 1 + 1, I know it's going to equal 2. That's rationale, but that's mixed with right emotional states. It's incredible. If you have a high levels of confidence when making decisions, you will overcome your fear of making the wrong decisions. Guys, you see how, please, if you have not watched that episode of The Science of Self-Confidence, please go back and watch it, please. So now, before you're about to make the decision, you're making a small decision, all right, you're making daily decisions, a lot of them, they're small, okay? You've gotten to a point where now you follow through, but before you jump into it, you just what? Understand you need informed intuition. So you what? Be informed before you make that decision, then move, okay? Number 5, Learn from your mistakes. Now you made the decision. Okay. Now it's after the fact. Okay. You need to learn. So some of us don't learn when we're making decisions. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, how many people experience outcomes, experience life and decisions, and how many people experience lessons, and so few are takers of lessons. So you need to learn your mistakes from your mistakes. You need to learn and not repeat. He says, Imam Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, a mu'min, okay, is never fooled twice. First time, you got me. Second time, there's no way. There's the line right here. That's it. I'm done. When you are like this and you can learn from your decisions, that's incredible. But one step better is when you can learn from a mentor's decisions, learn from other people's decisions. And when you're listening now, what I do, guys, is I steal lenses. And what that means is I steal experience from the other person. I listen so attentively to their mental perspective and their emotional structure. And I steal both those lenses. I steal the way they think and I steal the way they feel. I sympathize and I empathize. I've stolen that experience. I've never been to jail, but I've been to jail. I know a person in terms of certain things that this person that their dad would get drunk. And imagine this situation. And the person would choke their dad to get them to fall asleep. Imagine having to do that. It's incredible what people have to go through in terms of these kinds of things. So understand when you're making decisions, understand what kind of decisions you're making and listen to yourself once you and learn from that mistake. Don't get to a point where you do stuff like that. Don't. Your heart is being desensitized and your navigation system is off. And now you see falsehood as truth and truth as falsehood, and it can happen to you. And we said, ختم الله على قلوبهم وعلى سمعهم وعلى أبصارهم غشاوة. That's incredible. So understand that. Now, number 6. All right. Motivate yourself to make the right decision. Guys, if you make more right decisions, you will have more confidence and less fear. Guaranteed. Okay. It's been correlated. The reason I'm saying this, as confidence goes up, the correlation is performance goes up. That's how it works. As you become more confident and you become confident in your decisions that you're going to be able to get to this goal, guess what? You're going to love yourself more and you're going to care about yourself more. And you're going to choose different people, bottom line. You're not going to look at people who have broken wings and try to fix them because you feel like you are needed. No, you want to fly with the highest of people. That's what you should seek. Okay? I'm not telling you not to help people. You should. But you don't want to get entangled with the wrong people either. You got to be very careful, especially if you're empathetic. Like, you got to be careful with which type of people you want to help, because that's a big problem for empaths. They want to help everybody and they feel with everybody and they feel that emotion. They walk up onto the water and they don't just touch the water and see, they just jump into the water because they want to help the person, but they don't realize there's sharks in the water. And that person is literally just joking and they're going to drown them because they wanted to get them in there. So you got to be very careful with these kinds of things, especially if you're empathetic with others. You got to know how to control that. So go over there, touch the water, see it sometimes, then back off. Sometimes you need to jump in, no problem. You need that person needs to be wise in your decision making. Now from here, when you are motivated and as your now confidence goes up, your performance goes up, now you're really feeling great about yourself and you're achieving what you want out of life and you're taking on your challenges and you're just rising over and over and over and over again. You need to be motivated to make as much as possible the right decisions. Guys, that's the way it works. So the next time you are in between, so whoever's watching right now, I want you to make me a promise for tomorrow. Everybody's calling you. See how I lowered my voice again? And I slowed it down. It's a technique that we use as speakers, okay? To make you feel like this is important. And I'm actually talking to your brain subconsciously right now. and you don't even know it. But here's what happens. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. It's time to break your fast. Food is calling you. You have a decision to make. You can meet with Allah and pray just the Maghrib prayer and go eat. You could do that, or you could just go eat and have some food. Nothing wrong with, you could do whatever you want at the end of the day. But I want you to promise me for tomorrow. Promise yourself to make a good decision. For the rest of Ramadan, why don't you do that? It's another 2 minutes. 2 more minutes, just 2 minutes. But imagine those 2 minutes with Allah. What kind of value He will give you for that. I just really want you to think about that. So you're about to make, it's a small, small decision, but its weight is so heavy. It's heavy in the eyes of Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? It's you pushing that temptation away even further. Because now I'm free to eat, unleash the beast. No, tame it back one more and say there's one more thing I have to do, which is the most important thing, is to do this. And we talked about yesterday the 4 things of establishing prayer. And number 1 was praying on time. Inna salata kanat ala al-mu'minina kitaban mawquta. Surely prayer has been ordained on the believers at fixed times. That's the way it works, guys. So make me a promise, make yourself a promise, and meet with Allah before you eat. I promise you the food is going to taste much better. Assalamu alaikum, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please keep us in your dua.